Let's talk needles in your face. Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah. Today I'm going to be talking about Botox, what it is, what it feels like to have it done, if you should get it done. I will preface this with I'm in no way an expert on this. I'm just giving my experience because I have tried Botox out a few times. And when I was doing research to see if it was something that would be right for me, I didn't find a whole lot on if you should start getting it in your 20s. So I feel like most people, they get Botox once they start showing signs of aging because they want to minimize those movements and they want to just like stop any further wrinkles from occurring. The way I understand it, Botox works to kind of immobilize those muscles in your face. So that way, like, I can't do this. So if I can't do that, those lines, those wrinkles won't be forming if I can only go up this much or something like that. So it seemingly makes the skin look smoother and like it has less wrinkles because it is immobilizing that, so you don't get those lines from those constant movements. It's a lot different than fillers or plastic surgery or other facial things that do actually alter. So I started thinking, well, if this helps to prevent you from making those lines that eventually cause wrinkles, why not start it in my 20s when, you know, I am relatively wrinkle-free, so that way I can minimize the effect of certain areas that I might have a lot of expression in that could pose a risk for wrinkles in the future. And the main reason why I initially started thinking about this is because I would notice throughout the day with my makeup that I would have like indents right here. They're called the 11s. I apparently would do this a lot throughout the day without noticing, like while I'm working, while I'm driving, and I would see like throughout the day that my makeup would be super creased right there. So like I'd be doing it without even noticing, and it would make my makeup look bad there. So I started wondering, if this is something I am doing without noticing and it's creasing my makeup, is there a chance that it's also going to preemptively cause me to get the 11 wrinkles right there, which I really do not want. So that is the initial reason why I did decide to first try out Botox. I was gonna make this video a couple months ago, but I decided to wait it out. I think it's been about 5 months since the last time that I did get a treatment, and I got another treatment before that 3 months prior. So I've gotten it, I believe it's only been twice so far, but what I initially thought a couple months ago, my opinion has changed a little bit, so I'm glad that I waited. So going into this, I was also kind of thinking that I could use this almost as a form of like a frownies patch. I've mentioned the frowny patches on my channel before, but they're just like something you wear here that keeps you from making those movements as well that you wear overnight. And at least with my experience with that, it helped to train my face, since it was immobilized throughout the night, to not do that so often. So I was thinking, okay, if I get, you know, Botox right here, maybe I will start to adapt and I will just start to lose that habit of always going like this when I am doing something that I'm concentrating on. Because it seems to be always like when I'm concentrating on something, whether it's work, whether it's driving, whether it's reading, you know, just like when I'm concentrating, that's what I do. So I was thinking like maybe I could even, you know, get one treatment and see if that trains me enough to just stop doing that so I don't have to. I was very nervous going into it because I am not a big fan of needles, as well as just like doing stuff to my face that is out of the ordinary. The first time I did it, it did hurt a little bit because they're little needles that they stick into your skin, so it was kind of shocking. And it did have like a tiny bit of blood because, you know, it's puncturing your skin, but like not even enough to drip. I've never had needles in my face like that before, so it felt like a lot of pressure. And I will state, I also got only enough for the 11s. They have them for smile lines, for forehead lines, for like basically anything you can imagine, but I only got some right in between here, since that is like the main area of the expression that I want to avoid. The dermatologist that did it said it would take, I think, at least 3 to 6 days for it to like really take effect in my face, and then it would last for about 3 months. But then it can also vary depending on your skin, how your body metabolizes it, what other things you do to your face. So I'd say around the 3-month mark, I did notice that it was wearing down. It seems like it was a very gradual thing. It wasn't like it was working, and then suddenly I could like do this again. But once I started feeling the immobilization, I liked it. I would like look in the mirror and like try to do the thing that creates the lines, and I couldn't. And I was like, okay, this is perfect because this will train my face to stop doing that. So that way when I am concentrating, I won't be making those lines. And that is true for the most part, which I will get into later. I did ultimately decide to get a second treatment because I felt like I needed more time to train my face. I felt like 3 months I wanted to continue it. I didn't want to lose any progress. So I decided to get it again, and they had sent me a coupon. So I was like, okay. So I got it the second time, and I did get the same dosage that I did prior. It's like charged per like ampule or something like that. So it ended up for like right here, it ended up costing me around $200. It's very expensive. It doesn't seem like it'd be expensive because it's like, oh, only $12 per like unit, but they need like, I don't know, I think they use like 12 units alone right here. So if you're getting like your forehead, your smile lines, larger areas, it can get pricey very quickly. I was not expecting the cost. I knew it was going to be expensive, but once I saw like the $12 per unit, I was like, oh, that's not as expensive as I thought, until I realized how many units they actually need. So when I went in for the first time, I told them up front that this is my first time. I want as low of a dosage as possible. I don't want like my face to be completely immobilized. I just want something to help a little bit. I still want some movement. I don't want to be like frozen faced. So I asked them to go as light as they can in the beginning. And I will say they a little bit try to sell me more. So first tip, go in there with a plan and do not divert, because it can be tempting once you think about, oh, like this is gonna help my skin, you know, they're the doctor. They're making money from it. So go in there with a plan and don't let them talk you into getting more areas done. Because since I was only doing it here, they're like, oh, well, you do want to do the lines since those are like connected. And I declined, but I could see how someone could be easily convinced since they are the expert. But don't let them do that. Another little tip that I will share is to make sure to go somewhere super reputable. Do your research, because I've heard stories of, you know, it just not being exactly where it should or things like that. The place I went, I have been going to for dermatology for years, and they had great ratings for both their dermatology as well as their like cosmetic procedures like Botox. So I was like, okay, I can trust them. So, you know, if you're putting a needle in your face, you don't want to skimp on, you know, the safety or who's doing it. You want to make sure they know what they're doing, they've done it before, and they are trained to not screw you up. A third tip I will give, if you are younger, you're not seeing those lines yet, but you're considering getting Botox, only do certain problem areas that bother you. So like I said, I was just concerned about the expressions I do that cause E11s. So I only got it there. Since I'm not concerned about my smile lines, I don't really care about crow's feet, or I don't care about these so much. So you really don't need Botox all over your face, because that's going to get really expensive. And it's just not necessary if those aren't things that, either expressions that you use a lot or wrinkle concerns that you have going forward. Another tip I will give is to not do it excessively. They encourage you to keep up with it every 3 months, but again, they're running a business. So I did not schedule an appointment after my first one. I wanted to see how my body processed it. I wanted to see how long it stayed in effect on my face. If I felt like I could go 4 or 5 months and like save some money, I was like, might as well do that, because if I'm still feeling the effects by the 3rd month, there's no point in really going and getting that procedure done again and spending more money when I could just wait it out a little bit. Now, since it has been 5 months since my last treatment, actually after my second one, I was planning on just being done with it. I felt like I had trained my face pretty well and I wasn't experiencing any issues. So I was like, okay, I think we're good. But within like the past couple of weeks, I've actually noticed that the creasing thing is happening right here with my foundation again. So I ultimately did decide that I was likely going to schedule another appointment, which I still have to do. So I will say, as far as training my face, I definitely make that expression a lot less, and I catch myself doing it more often, but it seems like I didn't train my face completely. I don't know if I will ever be able to like completely train my face where like I can really stop doing that whenever I'm concentrating so I don't create those lines in my skin or in my foundation. So I decided I'm gonna give it another round and see how we do. Personally, I didn't experience any side effects. With every, procedure, there is typically a side effect, but I didn't have any issues. So personally, would I recommend this as something for people in their 20s or their 30s, or just for people that aren't seeing those wrinkles or there's those lines yet? Should they get it? And honestly, if you can afford it and you're cool with it, I'd say it's not a bad thing to consider if you want to do proactive care to prevent those wrinkles. Like I said, definitely don't go excessive. Go as light as possible and just use it as preventative care. That's essentially what I'm doing, is just preventing those lines from forming in the future. I might keep up with it, I might not, I'm not sure, but I thought it would be better to use it now as preventative care than reactionary care once I am older and I do start seeing those lines. You can't exactly reverse those lines or wrinkles without like bigger procedures, more expensive procedures. So to me, I think it is worth it to get it done now, so that way I can preserve my skin as much as I can, because it's not exactly altering my skin. It's just helping me from not making those wrinkles. That being said, I love expression faces. I think, that's what helps makes us look human. And I definitely don't advise freezing your entire face so that like you can't like lift your eyes or anything. Like, you want to prevent, but you also don't want to be like Janice Dickinson in America's Next Top Model, So don't do it excessively, and only do it on the particular areas that bother you. That is all I have in my notes to talk about, but if you're watching this, if people do watch this, and you have questions about my experience or just anything related to that, put it in the comments down below and I will try to answer. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up to help out my channel, especially as a small channel, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will hopefully see you in my next video.